Greetings everybody, it's me Knight, and this video is not gonna be as long as the other one, hopefully. Um, I wanted to make a video on angels, light and dark angels, and gods and goddesses specifically. This is gonna be extremely short now that I'm thinking about it. Um, I come to my realization that and this is no disrespect to anybody who's devotee to any gods or goddesses. So I'm about to share a story with you guys. So um, there's a specific goddess and deity that have helped me, and by society's norms, um, they would call them gods, goddesses, right? But I noticed that whenever I would speak to other mediums, because I'm a medium as well, but when I would speak to them, they would tell the mediums um, that they're angels, right? But when I see them, they're goddesses, but they'll tell them they're angels. And I feel like it's because of what I was told was they didn't want everybody to know their identity. That was what was around me, right? So, and when I was told this, um, and again, I'm not trying to discredit anybody who's in like any goddesses or gods. And again, this has nothing to do with any religion. But it's come to my attention that some goddess forms are most likely, possibly, if y'all want to say them as demigods or goddesses, but maybe fallen angels, guys. I'm gonna just say it straight out. They have a power of the god source or goddess source. Yeah. This is something that I was shown. I really want to so bad. I want to so bad to tell y'all what goddesses and stuff, but out of respect, it will really shuffle. It will really ruffle somebody's feathers. I know it's gonna really affect somebody out there, who I just don't want to mention it. I want to so bad because there's two of them that are mainstream right now. There's two spirits that people are calling goddesses that are fallen angels, right? And I'm not going to mention their name. I want to so bad, but they won't let me. But I just feel like that might trigger somebody to do more research into what they're into. And it doesn't mean that I'm not saying they're bad. That's not for me to even say. I'm just saying that this is what it is. And then also, there are certain goddesses that people are calling demons, but they're not demons. They're just, I'd rather say dark angels. Just like you have light angels. So like, reason I'm saying is because sometimes before the goddesses show up, especially the dark gods, there'll be a shadow. There'll be like a shadow of a silhouette woman, and they'll form into an actual goddess of light, and they'll turn into see like a beautiful blue glow, right? Things like that. Like I give you an example. And this is nothing against anybody. Like when I had an experience with Lilith, I had an experience. Well, she's around a lot. When I've had experience with Lilith, um, it wasn't what I expected. I definitely didn't call her, and so she came to me kind of like what the Shekinah would come to me. So like she had an energy of a Shekinah. So I'm not discrediting people who like I'm not discrediting her infernal nature or what people want to perceive as infernal. She just came as a Shekinah, and I know what I saw was definitely Lilith. She made sure. The reason I said that because it started off with a vision. Before she showed up my house, and I wasn't sure. I was like, I was a person. Sometimes the spirit can show me themselves in full form, but because I've experienced shapeshifters, I don't always trust things off of face value, even if it was ancestors. I don't. And then all of a sudden, I went to sleep that night, and then I saw her in the astral realm, and she was in full form, and she showed a vision of me with my cards flipping, and see how these cards have names on them and stuff. Imagine this nameless. So imagine this just a white index card, and she kept putting her name on here. Lilith, 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 all over the cards. I kept flipping Lilith, Lilith, all over the daggone cards. So I was like, oh my God. And then she just smirked at me. And I was like, what? And then she walked with me into the kitchen, and where it was more lit, so I would actually see it was her. It was It's wild. It's like 3 o'clock in the morning. It's very intense. I almost want to say it was almost as intense as Hecate, but not. I mean, no disrespect. It just Hecate was more intense, bro. I can't like Hecate literally had my whole room. She came in the room blue. Elizabeth was more lighter, at least anyway. But I'm only saying this because she has this. I guess from some people's perspective, she has an infernal energy, but to me, it's more like a Shekinah energy. She came to me as like an angel energy. She came to me as an angel. I'm gonna tell you right now. And so what I was shown, people are misinformed about her. And so once I saw her, I saw people were misinformed of what they think is the underworld. People were misinformed because I had a vision in Hades and I was told some things. Then people have a misconception about heaven, which I was shown some things. A big misconception. Because I saw different levels of how souls wait for bodies to come into. Like I saw like spirits that were like children that were meant to come down here. It was wild. And then I did see a place where people they get shown the deeds they did towards people. So I'm not gonna say judgment, but I saw a place in Hades and it wasn't hot, it was cold and wet, where I was presented with this energy similar, I guess you could say Persephone, and I was walking through there and it showed people on different levels going through stuff. Like it showed people that did me wrong, going through some negative stuff, and then it showed certain people that I didn't know who did certain things that weren't the best. So it's like they had like a place where they had to see how they did people, and just them seeing how they did people was enough pain for them. And so they had to like work off that energy because they didn't work it off here. It's kind of like us as humans, if we work off our shadow self and we try to do positive, that helps though, because the more we try to align ourselves, right, that's the less work we have to do in the afterlife. We don't have to worry about going through some of the stuff I'm telling you right now with these darker energies. Does this make sense? Because how I looked at it, the omnipresent force loves us. It doesn't want anything wrong to happen to us, but when you use your free will to do something else that's not the best, your vibration goes to that direction. So whether you feel like it's Hades or a lighter energy, and this is stuff that I saw through the astral realms, whatnot. Okay. Now I will say this, just in case you guys want to know, a lot of this stuff is just shown. I don't really ask. The only thing I do know, even though nobody practices it in my family, I do know my older ancestors, not my immediate ancestors, but I do know I have shamans in my family, and certain people did the, like, as far as like I'm talking about like people I never met, like, you know, as far as ancestors, but and that was due like meditation. But other than that, and also Native Americans, but other than that, nobody's really working with deities. Again, I told y'all this before, all my family's Christian. So again, like, again, I'm only, to get back on topic, I just noticed that certain gods or goddess forms are like demigods, but I would still feel it's like what Christians or people call fallen angels. And they have certain regions they run around the world. They have certain, what's the word I'm looking for? They have like it's almost like royal, like they have like certain nations they can run. It's kind of like they have like, what's the word I'm looking for? Um, they have a certain dominion they run. So they have an archetype where they have to follow certain steps. So like certain countries are ran by certain spirits, good and bad, principalities. That's the word I was looking for. And so and when they manifest, they can look like any culture. They can look like a European. They can look like an African. They can look like a Greek, and they choose this, and they end up having themselves glorified and worship, right? But when I'm saying it though, I'm not saying it in a way, in a religious way. So if you guys are religious, please don't look at it from a religious standpoint. I'm not trying to connect it like that. I'm just sharing to you how I saw things, and I'm not denying goddesses or God's energy, because I do know there are gods, are forms of aspects of gods that are around Earth, because I was shown that before as well. And some of them are nameless, and what happens is they can shapeshift. So I'm gonna give you an example. I'm gonna give you a prime example, and this is no discredit to anybody who's a believer in this deity. Okay, so I'm gonna use Isis. Okay, guys. So before Isis became Isis, she was Aset. Right, her original name was Aset. Then it switched to Isis. Then they carried her to Greece, you know, in Isis, right? So then they conflated her. So if y'all go to a museum, I really tell y'all, because I haven't seen no pagan person do this really. Like they might say, oh, they worship Aphrodite. They might say, oh, I worship Persephone. But I'm telling you right now, the Greeks and a lot of other cultures are known to conflate deities. So like you have statues that are like Persephone, Isis. Then you got statues that are Isis, Aphrodite. You don't get with this? And it's still connected to Venus and the certain star alignment. So really look into that. So sometimes if you're in the deity work and y'all get confused and you don't know, oh, is that Persephone or is this Aphrodite, all that stuff, it's technically the same spirit. And what she does is she'll shape shift into what she feels like resonates with your soul, and also how many incarnations you have had. So like even if you've been an American for like the last 400 years of incarnation, but then like 1,000 years ago you're in Greece, and even though she knew that you knew who she was as Isis, but she knew that you knew her more as Persephone, she's gonna show up as Persephone. Okay, she's even gonna look like a Greek woman. She's not gonna look like the Egyptian Isis. But now if she know that you're a Greek person who went on a ship to Egypt, right, and you resonated with her Isis form as an Egyptian goddess, she's gonna shape shift into the Isis form. It's no different, with all due respect, when people are like, well, Jesus, right? Or then they'll say Yeshua. It's the same person. Now, you might say, oh, it's not. Okay, think about this. Spirits evolve, right? I hope y'all know that, right? Spirits evolve. Now, I will say it's better to have the spirit's authentic name, but it's about your heart space. So if your heart is really calling out for the real spirit, it's going to come in that play, into that character, right? So all spirits know that a lot of stuff has been conflated, mixed up, and distorted. But if your heart is really trying to call to the true source of God or the true goddess or whatever, that's what she will show us, okay? So, say if you came from a mixed background, she's gonna show up as a mixed looking person. If she knows you are a Greek person right now, and that's the last memory of this goddess that you saw her as, or you think she is as a picture or a painting, she's gonna show up as Greek. That's why if you notice all countries that were back in the day connected to the goddesses or gods, they look like the people. You don't get with this? Even in Africa, right, when they look at the Yoruba and all that, that's all it is, right? So again, and most of that is Mother Earth and nature. They're different, but again, for the ones that weren't really working with nature or Neter, the ones mainly who are just looking at goddesses, like I said, I'm gonna use the Greeks, right? Again, they shift, and again, I'm using Isis because she's the goddess that has many names, more than what people know. And I said this in another video. Like when you look at Lilith, right? Have y'all noticed a lot of the feminine energies that get oppressed have like red hair? Like I give you an example, right? Lilith has red hair, Persephone has red hair, Freya has red hair, Bridget has red hair. Sometimes people say Morgan has red hair or black hair, right? But nonetheless, it's still red hair. Have y'all noticed this? Even Mama Bridget, did y'all notice this? I noticed this. And so I think it's very interesting. And then they all have something to do with like sexual energy, sacral energy. Have y'all thought about this? Fertile energy, and they have red hair. Have you thought about that? So it's just things you got, and that's what I'm saying. And then a lot of those energies, they have red hair. They're connected to either the underworld, rebirth, transformation, and Venus. And even when you look at Mary Magdalene, she had red hair. And if you do your research, some people in certain books, they say that she was a priestess. She used to be a priestess at the Isis temple. That some people say she traveled down there. Does this make sense? And then some people say her real name was Lilith, Mary Magdalene. You might want to look into that too. And then some people feel like Lilith is connected to Bridget in Ireland. Because see, spirits evolve, guys. So do your research, okay? And this is what I'm trying to tell you. Some things that you think is really bad might not be what you think. And some things that you think is good might not be what you think is good. And I'm not here to change your perspective. I'm trying to get you to be optimistic and really think about things before you call certain spirits or deities out your mouth and get yourself in a world of trouble. Okay? Especially if you're a person that has a lot of different cultures in them, or you're in a culture that was oppressed. If you're in a culture that's oppressed, you don't know your roots, I would highly suggest you look into some things. Okay? And I will say this too, if you feel like you're the original people, for my monotheistic people out there, if you feel like you're the original people, that means you did the original sin. And so if your people is oppressed, that means most likely you had slaves first. And so all it did was history repeat itself. And because that culture came out of slavery last, you still hurt because it takes a long time to heal when you've been oppressed. And that's for any culture. Okay? I'm speaking in general because a lot of people, cultures have been oppressed, but a lot of times some people don't know the certain cultures that are oppressed now might have been the winners years ago, right? Because it's always a known fact that history repeats itself. But to get back on subject again, man, look into the goddesses, look into the deities, because I just feel like when people are here trying to have altars and spirits, it doesn't mean they're not going to come. I just see like a lot of confusion where people don't know what they're talking to. They don't know if it's like a goddess or who, whatever, but that's because they can shapeshift, guys. They can shapeshift. The masculine energy can shapeshift as well, but I definitely know it seems more on the feminist. Because I notice the masculine are more upfront. They want you to know, hey, this is me. Boom, this is me. But the women, it seems like they're more hidden. It's like the triple goddess. It's like it shapes from the maiden, mother, to crone. Men can do it as well, but I just notice it just seems more with the women. And it seems they're more confusing because they're always shifting. And no offense, much love to all the women out there. But it's kind of like how certain people say that women go through certain mood swings. That's how I look at the feminine energy. Like it has so many different types of energy that's very versatile, and so it's hard to pinpoint what you're talking about, what you're looking at. So like sometimes the mother energies can be fierce, they can be beautiful, they can be everything. Just like how women, real women can be. Real women can be protective, honorable, protective, sensual, forceful when they need to be, right? And so they also can put on an illusion, kind of like how women can put makeup on. They're beautiful, but you don't really see their real beauty under the makeup. That's how I look at the spirit world with the goddesses. Like they can show one form and confuse people because they like to be a mystery. That's why, as I learned more about them and them, they contacted me. It's like I realized because they know we live in a world of duality and this world's still not balanced. It's still not meant for everybody to really know the truth about the goddesses or even some of the angels that may have fallen or what y'all, if y'all think they fell. And I only say have fallen because that's what most of society feels. And I'm not here to put titles on stuff. You know, because I ain't live in that time frame. I'm going off the books and stories and how I hope that that's true. You know what it is? But most of this is off my personal. So everything I just stated to you is from what I see. And again, I just wanted to really make this video to tell you guys certain goddesses and gods are actual just high-powered archangels that more are, I guess you can say, on the fallen side because they come off as shadows and some come off as light. And I also was shown that everything that walks in the light is not always good. And everything that walks in the dark is not always what you think. Because I've seen their spirits that are kind of neutral. Like I said, Hecate's been known as a neutral energy. It's not good or bad. But when things got Christianized and things like that, they changed the terminology. Almost like Damon, right? Damon wasn't always like an evil thing. It became evil, right? And like I told you before, a lot of the churches in certain parts of Europe and other countries, they built on top of pagan temples, guys. Come on. Because they wanted the energy. They wanted the power, right? And again, they've a lot of these energies and religions and even just countries that conquer each other, they've known to conflate. Like if they liked ISIS so much, even though it was in Egypt and Africa, they conflated it and it melted it into what they wanted. And you see it here in America. They have ISIS stuff here in America. They have it on our money. They have all in our symbols, guys. If you do your research, they used to have ISIS theaters in America, guys. Come on. America's not even that young like people think. It's not the new world. Do y'all research, guys. Do your research. There's so many spirits that tell me this is not the new world. Like, come on. But that's another thing for another day. I'm only making this video to spark your mind. I keep seeing these auras, but like, guys, wake up. Again, and also just a disclaimer before I get off. I'm not telling anybody to pray to any deity. I'm not telling anybody to connect to Lilith, to any spirit I name. Who I named here. I named Lilith. I'm not telling y'all to connect with her. I'm not telling y'all to connect with Hecate. I'm not telling y'all to connect with Persephone. I'm not telling y'all to connect with Isis. This is just a man who's been through experiences with these energies indirectly, not by choice. They showed up, and they're not to be played with, but they're also not the most evilest things, because I've seen way worse. I've seen some things that they have no title. Like in other countries, I've seen some crazy spirits, like just walking past temples and stuff. I'm like, what is that? Like stuff I can't even name. Like all kind of stuff. Even when I was on the base, I had like these like paranormal experiences with these things that looked like reptilians, but they weren't. They're like interdimensional beings. They look like a mix of demons and reptilians. It was crazy. I seen all kind of things. And so I'm just here to express it because this is what my spirits want me to do. They want me to express my stories in hopes that it touches one soul. But they already know that 99.9% of the people will not understand what I'm talking about. Or they don't care what I'm saying. They think it's crazy. Or think I got it from somebody. That's them. But they'll be dealt with. It doesn't matter. I'm not here to like, make people listen to this. I'm not trying to be a dictator. I'm just here to express it because they told me I'm supposed to express this stuff and how I hope to touch one soul. That's all it is. Even if I had 10,000 followers, it still wouldn't touch everybody. And there is not going to be ever, if you want to know, I'm not going to ever really give any references on my channel because in everything I stated, I don't know, it's not in a book. I mean, maybe I haven't read every book. And even if I was to read a book, I would never really give you guys references, only because I noticed that when I've seen other people's channels, or even when I was in college, people always want to argue with the professor. Like, I don't agree with that professor. Like, I don't agree with that author professor. I don't agree with that doctor. And it's controversy. And I don't want my channel a controversy. So I just feel like same way I find books, or same way I meditate and I pray, and sometimes I don't do anything. Most of the time stuff just tells me stuff, I express it. And I feel like you guys can do the same thing. What's wrong with you guys going to do something? Don't be lazy, do something. Instead of complaining about somebody's references and preferences and where they get their knowledge from, why don't you put in the work? Do something. That's how I look at it. That's how I do in the military. So I don't know. That's just how my mind works. Cause like this is definitely a tarot channel, but I just wanted to share these little stories, man. Everything like that. Again, it's just it's nothing to play with. Like again, I do feel there is a realm. Like they call it a Hades, but I do feel like there is a darker realm. I'm not gonna even though I'm a man of love and light, I'm not gonna sit here and sugarcoat. I don't know what other mediums do. I don't know what other tarot readers do. Don't get me wrong, guys. I love to have fun. I enjoy my life. I like to spend time with my sister. I've been on dates and stuff like that. But right now, for the last couple years, I just been on my spiritual path, not really focused on too much, just myself. And when I have stuff to put out, I put it out, right? And so I just have so many thoughts, and I've had premonitions, and I just want to share it. I have to. Because the one thing I'm not going to do is I'm not going to leave Earth and regret that I ain't sharing my story to at least one person. Because the world's so much deeper than what we know. And again, I am grateful that we have archaeologists out there, and also I'm grateful I was able to travel, and I'm grateful that people did write stuff down in books, because a lot of the stuff, even I got citizen for it, the Bible and certain mythologies and Greek mythology and Egypt, a lot of this stuff is the truth. It's not a joke. It's not falsified. Getting it with this, a lot of people, they really believe that, and those spirits are real. It's just in our timeline, because we don't pray those things, we want to kind of make ourselves believe that they weren't real. But I told y'all before, I don't feel like these people built temples for no reason. But long story short, guys, yeah. And again, when I saw Hades, so just to let y'all know, it did look like they were taking care of the dead. Like, it did seem like exactly how the mythology said it. From the most part, what I saw, I saw like different levels. Like I saw a peaceful part, then I saw a part where it looked like people were going through some stuff. But the same thing in heaven. So I saw the heaven was really nice, but it still wasn't like what I thought. It was very interesting. Yeah. But yeah, that was my last story. Again, just to tell you guys, if you're out there, if you're pagan or whatever, don't get too bent out of shape. You can't figure out what's speaking to you, because a lot of times the energies, they don't really like to be all the way complete with telling you who they are. And also, again, be careful what you watch, be careful what you read. Energies transfer. I'm pretty sure you know that. Spirits can come through the TV and the phone. It happens to me. I'm telling y'all the truth. And again, if y'all enjoyed the video, thumbs up, like, subscribe. And that's just my little quick time of goddess and goddesses, right? Be aware, everything's not what you see. And don't believe everything just because it might be popular, right? Or just everybody's doing it. It doesn't mean they really know. And sometimes they can. It really depends. Use your discernment, right? Because the same truth they know is somewhere in your soul. You just got to let it come out naturally. Connect more with the God source, whatever you believe in, or goddess, and it'll lead you in the right direction, guys, right? Because I'm a person, before I end this, it's like, before I follow 1,000 people and fall short, I'd rather fall short behind my own comings. Meaning, it doesn't mean I won't listen to nobody, but I just don't want to live with regret and be like, wow, I was in a bad environment in the afterlife because I followed somebody. Like follow somebody that, especially follow somebody that, how can I say, were popularized or because it's my dad or whatever. No, I just feel like I just, that's just a nightmare to just follow somebody off of face value because they just have all this notoriety. It's just crazy to me in my mindset. Again, it doesn't mean that some people don't know what they're talking about. Of course, there are some big names out there that have a great knowledge, but I'm just not here to believe everybody, especially because I've traveled so many places. It makes me question so much stuff. Going to all these countries, I'm telling you guys, if y'all can just read my mind, it's just so much stuff. But again, blessings to y'all and much love. Blessed be.